little now, and the food is to be mixed.
Yeah.
That is I will see how much quantity that's all. Then I carry 3 packets.
Yeah. After that, he will show you the
Quantity.
some books to sell, and then yes, kept everything ready.
And 2 more of those plastic bags you give to put those new medicines which you brought. Just 2 plastic bags with a cover.
So he will prepare the food.
I am ready. Yeah. Well boiled rice, soft boiled. So, how do you spend the time? Now, is it far away?
A little.
First, let me have the names now. Bud, then
Nitya.
Nitya,
Roland.
R-O-W-E-N.
Pardon me?
R-
R-O-L-A-N-D.
Roland,
Jeff.
John.
Jeff.
J-A-F-F.
Jeff. Yes, Jeffrey.
Yes.
Then
Yada.
there,
Jan.
John. Yes.
Jan.
Ganwa.
Jnana. Jnana means knowledge, is it? Jnana.
Then Jerry. He is Jerry.
Jerry.
Then we call it Richard.
Richard.
Richard. Rick.
John Black. John Black.
Don. Yes.
Robert. Robert.
Robert and Shiva.
And Shiva. Then Shiva, you know, I think.
Robert.
Robert. Oh, that's all over.
We have got, of course, 2 more members. They are busy. One in the bookshop.
Oh.
And that's
And another, when you write, send some good news also. All the various things. Meeting Harichilo, Kanachilo, they took over.
So tell something. If you had any ask any question, you can ask.
Swami, you raised some very interesting points last night. And I don't know if it's cumulative, the fact that each time you come you inspire us a little more, but last night had an intensity that I think we're beginning to listen to what you're saying more intently all the time. I'd like to just ask this in a general way. The implications, some of the things that were said, I wonder if we as brahmacharis, you see, generally around the world, and here in Hollywood too, really believe that they were true. I wonder if our lives wouldn't be even more focused and more intense and concentrated than they are. The point being that believing that spiritual experience is a possibility for us. Would this not make a big difference in our lives? So what I'm asking is, I think, Swami, to a little reassurance of whatever you might want to say to the young brothers, all of us here in the room today, as to the possibility of climbing this mountain of which you speak, and of receiving the Lord's grace, at least in the form of His love during our lifetime, as our main purpose here. That's what I'd like to ask you about.
Generally, when we take to the spiritual life, it is with this assurance and hope. We leave something, we seek something else. Though that something else is invisible, intangible, yet it is a lure. That is the lure which lures us in spiritual life. That is how faith in some divine order.
Is the call for Swami?
But Joy Sen is on line 1. Will you take the call now or shall I?
Who is that?
Joy Sen.
Joy Sen. Is it a Bengali lady?
I don't know.
It's a man. It may be some man who called earlier who said that you had stayed with him in Texas at one time.
Oh, Jayanta Sen. Jayanta Sen, yes. Bharati. That's your Bharati. We all had not seen God. Yet, they are attracted by the spiritual ideal. Because others have seen it. Others have experienced. That is the conviction. And full conviction comes only after realization, not before. That's what I have compared. When you go to fish in a lake, suppose you don't get any fish for 1 hour, you won't say there is no fish in the lake. Others have got it. I will also try. You see that? So sometime the fish will nibble, and you know there is some fish, though you have not caught it, it has been nibbling. All this gives you greater conviction, yes, there is fish. Similarly in spiritual life. Realization will give complete conviction. Until then, provisional conviction backed by experience of great souls whose inspiration we have taken. That's how we continue. It is not a wild goose chase. Huh? That feeling must come. Huh? Especially renouncing the world, for monks, renouncing the world with all its attractions, unless a greater attraction on this side is not possible. So God is a greater magnet than the world, said Sri Ramakrishna. Who is that? There is a shloka in Sanskrit which fully explains the type of mind that you and I have when we join the order. Samsarameva nissaram drishtva sara didrikshaya pravrjanti agratodvaha param vairagyam ashrataha. Realizing that samsara is nissara. Samsara means worldly life. Nissara means without substance. Without substance, without pith and marrow. That's called nissara. Not that it doesn't exist, it exists, but it has no substance in it. When you just push it, there is nothing. So samsarameva nissaram drishtva. Getting this conviction, let me see what is the sara, what is the essence, what is the truth. With that desire, sara didrikshaya, pravarjanti, we renounce. That is nissara. Nissara is the interesting word in Sanskrit. Insubstantial is nissara. You want to know what is substantial? That is negative, this is positive. Mere nissara attitude is not enough. There is a substance, substantiality to this universe. I am in search of it. Sara didrikshaya, pravarjanti, we renounce. Agratodvaha, even before entering into the married state, as a brahmachari, we renounce. What is the strength by which you do this tremendous thing? Param vairagyam ashrata, with the strength of tremendous spirit of renunciation. I have given up. I am not going to go there because it is necessary. If I am to live even without anything, still I shall not go to what is necessary. I want sara. That is the intense conviction and the propelling power to take us in the spiritual life. Without any experience of God, sometimes dry periods, still we sustain. Because we know it is there. The sara vastu is there. The sara I don't want. That's the idea. You have seen a banana tree, plantain tree. Shankara calls it, inside there is no stuff. Kadali stambhavat nissaro, in the commentary on the Kathopanishad. World is like the stump of a plantain tree, stuffless inside. Go on, go on, go on, go on, it goes. That is a conviction. All of us belong to that category. Only we must keep that propelling power, that boosting rocket as we call it, to take it across the Earth's gravitational pull. You need more boosting power. Wonderful idea. That's why it is a strange experience. From ancient times, many have done it. Not one, two, three, many. Many. Bahavo, the Gita verse you will find. Vitaraga bhayakrota, where is the Gita? In the 7th or 9th chapter. Without, free from attachment, fear, anger. Vitaraga bhayakrota. Manmaya, devoted to me. Mam upashritaha, depending upon me. Bahavo, many. Jnana tapasa kotha, purified thus. This when the tapas of knowledge, tapas of jnana. Mat bhava avataha. They have achieved me. They have attained oneness with my being. Many is the word bhava. Same thing in Mandukya Karika. From the jnana point of view, this is bhakti. The jnana it is said, Vedaraga bhayakrodhaihi. Manibhi Veda paragaihi. So many sages, free from attachment, fear, anger, three emotions that destroy the human mind. Attachment, fear, anger. They have gone beyond the Vedas. Mind you, Veda paragaihi. Why? Vedas contain only do's and don'ts. Here I am going to experience it. Then you go beyond the Vedas. See the language, what boldness. Veda paragaihi. Nirvikalpo hyayam drishtaha. This nirvikalpa experience has been experienced by people. Bahavo. Nirvikalpo hyayam drishtaha. Prapancho pashamo. In which the entire universe is simply dissolved. Advayaha. Non-dual. That experience. Many have attained it. That is the Gaudapada's Karya. Out of conviction they say, this is not a wild goose chase. It is not, many Americans went to catch gold, in the western side. Many died there. Even for gold, they died. God can you not die a little? That's the idea. That is Swamiji said in America. 6 people standing on the road and said, I want nothing but God. Then this world can be saved.
Do we have any brahmacharis joining now, Swami, in the Theravada?
Every year there is a net increase. Death and old age and all this, people are getting less, but increase. So a net increase. Not fast, slow. Fast should not be. In all sorts of people we get it. As in the case of Buddhism, fast expansion of monasticism that ruined the whole Buddhistic movement. Okay? Monasticism is not meant for millions.
You're always so optimistic, Swami, and help us to take a more cheerful view about the future and the world and so on. I wonder if you think that in India, I can't tell them, but is it possible that in India, Sri Ramakrishna will exert a cultural force similar to that other avatars have exerted around the world, Christ and Muhammad, not an avatar, but a prophet.
Tremendous. But that means you must know that these great teachers, they bring a tremendous energy resource into the world. They are called history makers, epoch makers, but not at the beginning. Beginning everything is slow. Whoever knew Jesus, whoever knew Buddha even, he was in the jungle. But the power that they exercise is a tremendous fascination. It takes time to touch the people. Today when anybody reads the gospel, you go to any island here, go to the Greenland, man reads, man completely changed. It is a new discovery. Where do they get the opportunity? Many do not get the opportunity to hear these beautiful things. You see that? That's what the Upanishad said in the Kathopanishad. Many do not get the opportunity even to hear the Atman. Even after hearing, many do not really understand. But the teacher must be great, the student must be competent. These two are to be combined together. This is the Upanishad, Kathopanishad. They have seen all these things before. To realize the Atman, how few get the opportunity. I am busy eking out my livelihood. There is no time to think of anything else. Don't you know? When the food gathering stage in our human history, where was culture? Food gathering. From morning till evening, just like these birds pick up a little, somehow body is made to live. There is no culture then. Culture came only when agriculture came, then surplus came, then time came, leisure came, then they could think. Then this great science and philosophy all came. So people who are struggling to make their living, they find it difficult to get an opportunity to think of these things. Even to them we have to give. That's why the Gita. Gita goes to the people where they are. There's a philosophy there. Don't come to philosophy. Philosophy goes to you. You are making, you are living, yes, I shall give you a philosophy by which you will do it well. And you will do it with tremendous inner strength. That's how the Gita will whisper that message.
Maharaj, in this center, we seem to have a lot of, the monks seem to have a lot of contact with the householders. How should we serve them? What is our attitude?
Beautiful. We have to treat the householders as embodiment of God because they have the Lord within them. They are moved by love for God, bhakti, where the Lord has been placed in their hearts. So we show high regard for the householders. That is the teaching in Sri Ramakrishna also, how much he respected the householders. Isn't it? He goes to a house and takes a little food from them, even a cup of water. So much consideration for the householder, because they are devotees. The devotee's heart is the Lord's drawing room. If you want an interview with God, seek him there, says Ramakrishna. Bhaktir Hriday Bhagavanir Vaitakhana, as in Bengali. Bhakta's Hridaya, heart, is the drawing room of God. If you want an interview, seek him there. That's why Bhakta's status is very high. In spite of all these distractions, they think of God. You see? Monks may get a little pride. Oh, we are very devoted, very spiritual. You have the time, you have less botheration, you should do much more. So you will hear the story of Narada's pride being humbled, that story. All of you know that story. Narada was thinking he was very devoted. Then he was humbled by seeing a simple farmer who thinks of God twice a day. He is greater than Narada. That was how he was humbled. Monk and householder together constitute society. They come just to get a little spiritual stimulus from us. We cultivate it. We share it a little when they come talking, always positive ideas, always encouraging ideas. You see that? That is all. So ours is a cultivation constantly of spirituality. That's the meaning of a monastic community. We have nothing else to do except to accumulate spirituality. By our meditation, javam, good thoughts, good reading. See, we have got constant witness to the divine. They have got distractions. So sometimes they come to get a little. And they do get it. Many people come, they come to the ashram and go, they feel refreshed. This is I have seen in Hyderabad. When people come, when they go, how rich they feel once they come and go. The ashrama is not there, it's all desert. That's what one of the disciples told Ramakrishna. Please come to my house. It is smelling very bad. You have not come for a long time. In that gospel you will find. A holy man comes. It's a wonderful status, the holy man. We are holy because we do holy living. We think holy thoughts. So our holiness is a little surplus. That's why we can share. Without surplus, how can we share? Unless your righteousness exceeds the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall in no wise enter into the kingdom of heaven, as a language. This is called a responsible monastic order. Responsible monastic order is whatever we do has an impact on society and we make it a wholesome impact. We don't disrupt society. That's called a responsible monastic order. We serve the community. We say good to the community, like that. India is already being shaped by Ramakrishna's thinking, more and more people. It is and everybody respects Ramakrishna, all the religious teachers, including Sai Baba, everybody. Ramakrishna is something unique. Anyone, you can go and see. They quote Sri Ramakrishna in their teachings, plenty. Even this Rajini's quoted Vivekananda once or twice, I saw.
Yes, I hear that he gives a good
They do.
lecture on Swami
Ramakrishna and Vivekananda belong to a category. They are not ordinary gurus of a few devotees and all that. No, they belong to all. That is the status. And Holy Mother is conquering many hearts today, all over the world. The very look, such a holy life, such pure motherhood. That boy from Sydney, he is my host's son. He came here, Rick,
Yes.
came here.
He's coming
A
again.
very restless boy he was all these years. I know him from my childhood. Mother was not sure which way he will shape. Huh? Only found the play, this and that, never coming to any of the lectures. Last 3-4 years a change came. He wants to read. Holy Mother, Sri Ramakrishna, came to my talks, came to the retreat, complete change. Then he says, I meditate on Holy Mother. That's what attracts me most. So I sent him to Asheshananda, take initiation from Mother's disciple. And he is so happy. 1 month he spent there. I said, this is who asked him? This is by himself. That spontaneous response to something holy and pure. Now full of mother, mother, mother he writes. Even now, a restless young man, he is a good dentist.
We call him the
He will be
dentist.
coming here. In September he will come for another 2-3 months.
What do you call it?
The dentist.
He's a dentist.
Way dentist. Way dentist.
Swami,
Ah.
I'm wondering what to do about the kind of mind or the mind with tendencies that tend to disturb peace to no purpose. Kind of direct everything inward, not say towards a peaceful, calm center, but just try to intellectually figure out, solve problems, and create more or less pretty constant anxiety about psychological theories and all kinds of, it just goes on and on about different, how to control the mind. The mind is constantly worried about how to control itself.
We all, especially the present generation of young people, come from a society with full of distractions. You see that? So we have to be very careful in handling this mind. The world is shaping us this way, that way, even before 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The wonder is that all of you could escape from the clutches of such a world. Isn't it a wonderful miracle? The world is simply like a tentacles, trying to catch everything. Out of that you are able to escape. So you have finished half the battle. Half the battle is over. Now comes a steady pursuit of the spiritual life, where this shaping of the mind comes the most important thing. When you work for the center, you are working really for service of the Lord. That's an absolute truth. We have no other work here except service of the Lord. This conviction must be there. Then meditation, also communion with the divine. And these reinforce each other. Work, worship, reinforcing each other. Then you will find a slow growth in the spiritual dimension. It's a slow growth spiritual. And fortunately we have got length of time with us. Formerly people take to religion at the age of 70. And all the teeth have fallen down, then they get a ticket to heaven, that's all. Our case is different. We have got a whole life before us to build up a strong spiritual character, to achieve some spiritual awareness. So that determination must be constantly there. Before this body falls away, I must have some spiritual experience. Maybe towards the end doesn't matter, but I will work towards it in that way. It must come. So your effort and this innate feeling, I have got the grace of the Lord on me. That intense feeling must be there. This is called vishwasa in Sanskrit. In Ramanuja's commentary, he refers to this quality. An inert feeling that the Lord is blessing me. Any Christian saint Hindus, Saints, Muslims, all had this feeling. Not only I seek God, God seeks me. There's an interesting idea in mystical literature. Thompson's book, The Hound of Heaven, this is the same idea. God is like a hound in search of his prey. We are the prey. So God seeking for man, man seeking for God. Here we take the initiative, there he takes the initiative. And Ramakrishna said, if you take one step, he will take 9 steps. The mother and child relationship. So this is the constant attitude in mind of a spiritual soul.
I've used to think, and whenever I really get upset, I still think that when I feel miserable, it's hard for me to conceive that, although the faith knows, but the mind just says, God won't.
When you feel miserable, you can complain to the Lord himself, because he is our own. But remember that word bhakti, he is our own. We can always complain. Weep, complain, and it is good to shed a little emotion that way to the Lord. The idea is our relationship with God is not as a majesty, as one's own. The real spiritual life doesn't begin till the distance vanishes. That majesty of God must go. That bhakti and this bhakti, world of difference. God, you are a great king, you are a great this, you are a great that. That is a majesty. It separates you. He is your own, like father, mother, everything. That kind of attitude. Sri Ramakrishna told many devotees, simply consider who you are, who am I, what is your relation to me. That is enough sadhana for you. He will say like that. So that intimacy, then you can pour out. Many Christian mystics have done it. Even the Brother Lawrence has done it, weeping before the Lord. Mother. Then he says, I have done a wrong, O Lord. What do you expect of me if you leave me to myself? He says, very nice language, What do you expect of me to do if you leave me to myself? So don't leave me to myself. That kind of prayer. These are all the ways in which you bridge the gulf between the devotee and God. Mind must play in this way. It is a regular play. Spiritual life becomes a play then. It is a game. That heaviness goes away. Remember that word. Heaviness. With bhakti, heaviness goes away. With bhakti, renunciation becomes natural, spontaneous. I throw away 10 cents because I got $1. That's the attitude of renunciation in bhakti. So many songs are like that. Maine to Ram Ratan Maine Paya. I have got a great gem of Rama's name. That's one of the songs in Hindi you get here. See that? It's a gem. So costly it is. So Sri Ramakrishna's name we have got. The Bharati which you sing, Vivekananda's composition, Kandana Bandhana, the last line is interesting. I have read it as a boy and used to recite. But it took several years to catch the significance of that little line. That I got it in 1946 when I was in Karachi. Suddenly I sat and repeated. It's a wonderful idea. That year there was a monks' conference in Belur Math. They asked me to speak after the monks' conference. I spoke. There I referred to this. Swami Dayananda came, shook hands with me. Swami, your wonderful speech, fine English, correct English, wonderful like that, he said on that occasion. That is this. Sampada tava shri pada bhava goshpada variyathaya premarpana samadarshana jaga jada dukha jaya. That is the last last line. So, sampada tava shri pada. When I get the treasure of your holy feet, then this world becomes like a mud puddle. That is the language. The whole world with its attraction becomes like a mud puddle. Goshpada means mud puddle. Go means cow, pada means hoof. From water collected there, that is all the world. See the language in Sanskrit. Brahmandam goshpadayate. When you realize Brahman, this great attractive Brahmanda becomes a goshpada. So your feet, when I get a place there, as my treasure. This whole world with its attraction becomes a Goshpada, you see. That is a wonderful idea. You get it in very good Christian saints' utterances, these ideas you will get. That truth must be experienced, so that there is no sacrifice. There is no sacrifice at all. We had a nice life. Say for example, we had nice mother, brothers, sisters, everything was fine. But this is final. Therefore we did. Not because somebody pushed us out. Isn't it? Just like in India we have monks of that type. The wife bites the husband's finger, husband sends away to Benares to become a sadhu for 1 week. Then again he returns. We don't belong to that category. We have got plenty of things to eat and drink. We have got education, we can get a job. We have got all this. Yet, say, we don't want it. It is all necessary, insubstantial. That is real positive renunciation. That sannyas is what the mission cultivates. We call it Vidvat sannyas, knowing sannyas. Vedic sannyas belongs to that category. That's why it could produce giants. Intellectually, spiritually, giants. See a Buddha, a Vivekananda, a Shankaracharya, what type they are. Huh? It's rare to see in the world, such types. So we belong to that race, that pedigree. So we say, this is our pedigree, we call it. In your mantra it is written, my pedigree begins from Brahma, then Vyasa, like that, then Gaudapada, Shankaracharya, like that goes on. In sannyas you recite this, our pedigree. That is our pedigree. Our genetic pedigree is not very high. Maybe the robber barons somewhere in Europe was our genetic pedigree. But spiritual pedigree is tremendous. Between the two, today's biology says the spiritual pedigree is more important. The other is fixed, you can't change it. This you can change. You can enrich. The orthodox sannyasins in India today, belonging to the old tradition, who first looked down upon this new monastic order. Only because we didn't observe these caste rules, we started hospitals, we started washing and cleaning patients. They didn't like this. Sannyasins should be sitting on the top. They wanted that. But this is a new type of sannyas. So they just looked askance. They didn't allow us to eat with them. You see that in Haridwar and all these places. But in 1936, when Ramakrishna's centenary was celebrated, already a change had come. They began to say, this is real sannyas. This is real Advaita. Seeing same God everywhere and serving with love. Till then they called us sweeper sannyasins. You know that the word bhangi means sweeper. Who comes and washes your latrines and cleans and all that. That's called in Hindi bhangi. So bhangi sadhu they used to call. What a nice ornament it was. Tribute, bhangi sadhu. They never reacted. That's one thing in India. The new movement will not attack and defame the old movement. No. They will change. When you show your bona fides, they will change. That's one good thing in Indian orthodoxy. They are not wicked. They are small-minded, limited in experience, that's all. Not wicked. As soon as they saw these people are sincere, they are pure, they changed. And that year, some of the old orthodox sadhus came and spoke on Ramakrishna's centenary celebrations. And that was completed this year in Haridwar, when we installed Ramakrishna's image in the Haridwar hospital temple. So many of these Mandaleshwars came. They are called Mandaleshwars. When they travel on elephants and all that, big processions. Thousands of Hindus follow them. They don't follow us, they follow them as religious heads. And what did they say? They came and said, Swamiji, your Advaita is the correct Advaita. We should also follow this. Service, service, service. That's real religion. Openly they said in public meeting in Haridwar. So we always showed respect to them. Though they treated us as untouchable, we go and touch their feet. They belong to the old tradition. Something wonderful in India. There is not that kind of conflict, the new and the old. They parallel work together. And slowly the new absorbs the old. And and today it is happening today. The new absorbs the old. Shankaracharya's movement absorbed Buddhistic movement. Absorption is the word. Because that had gone decayed, it had lost its elements, nothing else was there, then came a wonderful movement, same purity, the same philosophical strength, everything was there. Slowly one merges into the other. That's why we have a revolution without bloodshed. These are all revolutions without bloodshed.
So there is no danger, Swami. We've heard that there is a tendency in the order to revert back to Shankara and to renunciate, that kind of renunciation without service, more of a determined, remove ourselves more from outgoing service. We've heard that there's a tendency in our order also.
No, that is
There's
not now. That's not now. It's the beginning. In the beginning, a new idea is not fully taken by all. But they also watch and they are changing. Now 99% of the monks are of this idea. But Swamiji's time it was less, that is more, like that. That is, we allow for all these things in human life. Otherwise you cut off the head and get out. We don't do that. All right, you go on. You want to go for tapas? Go to Rishikesh, spend some time and come and see. Like that. Just gently, slowly. But slowly we tell them, no, this is the real tapas. This is real austerity. We show the examples also. Even Swami Turiyananda said, I myself committed a blunder in going away to Almora and other places. You people never do so, I am telling you from experience. He said, because that's a lure of the old tradition. Always it is there, the old and the new. Unless you are very strong in mind, you cannot get the new in its fullness. The household disciples couldn't understand anything new from Ramakrishna. Only the boys could understand what is new, Narendra and others, because they are fresh minds. You can see the distinction between householders and sannyasins in the gospel. Ramakrishna talks one thing to householders, boys he talks something else, because they can assimilate.
In 1974, Swami, I discovered a vast treasure in Central America, and it was so vast, so huge, and it was at my feet to use. I realized I had to renounce everything personally. Now I'm in a position to return soon and be able to utilize this treasure.
What treasure?
It's
Not
17
material or
kilometers.
spiritual?
Pardon? It's physical.
Physical
Gold.
treasure. No.
17 kilometers of high-grade placer gold worth over $4 billion.
Yeah.
Now, I could only, as one man, take out so many millions in my lifetime on a small scale.
Somebody dug up a ship containing full of gold, Spanish galleon, American company dug up from the Caribbean Sea.
How can I best maintain my wandering sadhu status and my monastic vision when I'm in the position?
Best thing is not to run after that.
Mhm.
That is not our lever. Running after gold is not the way of monastic life. It is like mud for you.
Mhm.
I should point out, Swami, he is a householder.
Huh?
He is a householder, but he has the ideal.
If you want money, have that much, but don't run after too much. There is delusion. It creates delusion in the mind.
Yeah.
Wealth can create tremendous delusion. So enough to eat, drink, and a little surplus, that's all right. Otherwise you forget God. Householders also should not become money mad. You have to forget God then. Mammon and God, Jesus said, perfectly true, can't go together. For some distance you can go. You want some money maintenance? Ramakrishna was asked by devotees, Sir, can I earn more money to maintain my family? Yes, you can. By honest means you do. Perfectly all right, you are a householder, he said that.
Some devotees tell you that they want to earn money so they can give more money to the Vedanta Society. Isn't that a little bit dangerous?
Right. See, it all depends upon the strength of the person concerned. Instead of catching money, the money will catch me here. That we must be careful. That's all. If you are strong enough, there's no harm to handle. Who digests whom is the question. I digest money, money digests me. Huh?
Sorry.
Huh?
Well, it wants to be like King Jonah, if that's his sort of extreme
Ah,
position.
it's a good idea. Yeah.
the idea, Swami, you were talking about, as we go on and grow older, the mind slowly, spiritual life grows.
It should.
Should. But the direct disciples, could you comment on the statement of the direct disciples where they said, one of the direct disciples said that you should achieve everything, I'm sure we're all familiar with that statement, by the time you're
Middle
30
age.
or 25 or 30, I think it was Swami Ranganathananda.
That is due to this. When you are physically fit and fine, you can really work hard for spiritual life. Afterwards, when the body becomes weak, many things you will not be able to do. So major part of the achievements you finish when you are vigorous and young. That's the idea.
But life has changed now, hasn't it? In that we continue to be vigorous much later. In those days, people lost their vigor when they were 40.
That only shows we have to extend the date of that middle age.
Yeah,
Middle
that's
age was
what I was-
35 before, now you can call it 40. 45 you can put middle age. 35 was middle age even about 40 years ago.
Yeah. Okay.
Even Jung called 35 middle age. So we can put it 40, 45. That's all. That's why our sannyas period also formerly only 1 year, 3, now it is 9 years. Probationary period is 9 years. They were extending to 16. I was one of those who opposed it. 9 years, 9 years. And monks' conference, they were extending to 12 years, 16 years, going to 18 years. I said no. Finally fix it 9 years. As soon as a person becomes a monk, he can attend the monks' conference. That was the final resolution we passed. I took a lot of effort to bring that about. Once you are a monk, you are a monk. You must be fit for the monks' conference. No further delay. So now 9 years after you can attend monks' conference. But the spiritual life, the danger is when you grow older, you become a little softer, you become a little slower, a little unconcerned. That should not be. Cumulatively more and more spiritual you should become. Very often, when by the time you are older, you become dried up. That should not be. That freshness must remain, spiritually speaking, up to the end. That comes from alert mind. So how are you? I am fine. Must be able to answer. Some people answer, I am somehow going on. I say, you are dead. I tell this in India whenever I go to ashram. You are dead. Somehow going on. What is this? I say like that. You are fine. So don't die before actually you die. Brahmachari of the mission. What a powerful personality must be. Like a fire. Yama says in the Kathopanishad, the Brahmachari enters house like a fire. A spiritual fire. That's language. Tapas means that. Living a spiritual life.
What is this, you were talking about the monks having something left over to give to the devotees. What is that? What is that exactly?
It's not actually something we give. We have built up some spiritual asset. That is what this ashrama means. All of us are doing now these, what you call, wooden window. They don't have any spirituality. You and I create spirituality here by our spiritual life. Devotees come, share from it. It's an actual experience, sharing experience it is. They go back richer, spiritually speaking. So sad people come, they go back cheerful. Isn't it? That is what you and I do. That's the meaning of a monastic community. We are constantly at it. Everything we do here is to increase the spiritual resources of the community. We get the benefit, others get the benefit. So you go, you give, you get. If you don't give, you don't get. That's it. If you live a worldly life here, worldly thoughts, worldly things, that spirituality suffers. In all decadent periods of monastic life, this is what happens. Monastics become worldly. Buddhism became very worldly towards the end. In the history you will find, monks became just worldly. Lazy, worldly, gossipy, like that. In Chinese travelers' accounts of India, 8th century, 7th century, you find it. Decadence of monastic life. Christian monasticism decayed in the 15th, 16th centuries. Even the popes decayed. So their life was very bad at that time. Then slowly Counter-Reformation came, Ignatius Loyola came, strengthened up monastic life. Like that it happens. We have provided for all this. 1,000 years is the life of a great teacher's movement. Then it becomes tapering off. Then another teacher comes. There's a provision for it. So let us keep it fine for 1,000 years.
Swamiji said 1500, didn't he? Or
It's 1500 years said. This time, because of the enormous power of Sri Ramakrishna's spiritual life. 1500 years.
he also said that this would be the last major religion ever. I read that Swamiji said this.
After that, because it is universal,
That's right, yeah.
because become universal, you want to live it and new teachers come to refresh it.
Yeah.
That's the idea. The real statement of religion comes finally. Why? Life and religion become unified. Life itself becomes religion, especially the teaching of the Atman, the divine in the heart of man, and is unfolding, the biggest universal religion you can ever have. Then we only strengthen it by a great spiritual teacher rising here, rising there. Anyway, in Russia you may develop a great spiritual giant coming up. There's no difficulty. Once this starts, this kind of sadhana, somebody will shoot up. We don't know who. That's why in the Narada Bhakti Sutra, find that prakashate kwapi patre. This divine manifests in some man or the other. Not definite. Most unexpected places it may develop. The Jews gave Jesus, most unexpected. At that time they were a slave race, very, very priest-ridden, and then this tremendous upheaval at that time. Most unexpected it was. In India, in various parts, these upheavals come. Early Punjab area, then comes Delhi area, that's Krishna's time. That was Rishis of the Upanishads. Then in Punjab, what you call Delhi, in that area, UP Delhi area. The whole of that movement was there. Then the next was in Bihar, Buddha. The whole of that area, Bihar, south of Nepal, that area. Next is south, Kerala, Shankaracharya, Ramanuja, all that side. And now again gone to Bengal, a big person coming there. Somewhere they are there, somebody comes up. Because their spiritual life is kept alive. There are so many beautiful ideas in India. In the Badrinath temple, in the Himalayas, 9,000 feet high, Vishnu temple, there the Lord and his disciple and friend, that is Narayana. Narendra's original form is the Rishi. So also Arjuna's original form is a constant companion of God. So these two sages, Nara and Narayana, are constantly doing meditation there to protect the spirituality of this great country. That is written there in our Puranas. Nara Narayana, Badri pilgrimage. In May it opens, temple. Up to May it is all covered with snow. Then in November it closes again.
It is 5:20.
5:20 now? All right. So we shall make that food.
He'll call you, so he's making.
I can make it here. Just ask him to bring it. I only to put the quantum. The rest is simple. Manage and put it.
He's ready, he'll call you. He's buying.
Only to how much to put in. So that I can blindly eat, no fear of excess. Yes, sir? Go.